Hi, I'm Stephanie Jaworski of joyofbaking.com. Today we're going to make madeleines. So we're going to start by making our batter. This is a sponge cake batter, or more precisely a genoise batter. So if you have an electric stand mixer like I have here, use your paddle attachment, or you could just use a hand mixer as well. So the first thing we need is 3 large eggs, and have those at room temperature because they'll whip so much better when they're that temperature. And then to that I'm going to add a half a cup, 100 grams of granulated white sugar, along with 2 tablespoons, 30 grams of firmly packed light brown sugar. So now what I'm going to do is beat this on high speed till it's really thick and pale, and that will probably take at least 5 minutes if you have a stand mixer like this. It could take as much as, say, 10 minutes. So you want it really thick. And while I'm beating this together, what I'm going to also do is melt a half a cup, that's 113 grams of unsalted butter. And I just cut it into small cubes because it will melt faster. So while you're beating your batter, just melt your butter. Okay, so our batter is done. So you can see it's really a pale color and really thick. So that's what you're looking for. So now we're going to just flavor this with 1 teaspoon of pure vanilla extract. And if you like, you could also add like maybe a teaspoon of grated lemon zest if you would like to, or even orange zest if you'd want a little citrus flavor. And then just beat that in. That. So like I said, while I was beating this, I melted my butter. And you want your butter to be just a little warm. You don't want it like really cool, because it's much easier to fold into our batter if it's just a little warm. So I'm just going to, you don't need to do this at home, but I'm just going to pour it into this bowl so you can see what I'm doing here. So now, for our dry ingredients, you need 1 cup, 130 grams of all-purpose flour. You may know that as plain flour. And then I'm adding just 1/4 teaspoon of salt and 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder to help give it a little lift, and just whisk that together. And then what we're going to do is sift our dry ingredients over top of our batter. And about 3, I'll just put about 1/3 for now. Just sift it. Top. And then you could use either a wire whisker, I'm just using the spatula. Just fold it in. Just kind of big strokes. You don't want to deflate your nice egg and sugar mixture, so just fold it in. And another 1/3 on top. And just big strokes, fold it in. Make sure you get the sides and the bottom. You're folding. So now we have our butter. I'm just going to pour it, again, you don't have to do this at home, just so you can see what I'm doing. Pour it into a bowl. And then what we're going to do is take just a little, just maybe 1/4 cup or so of our batter and put it into our melted butter. And we're going to lighten it, because otherwise it's very hard to put And then we'll just take a wire whisk it in. It's very hard to incorporate the melted butter into this very light batter. So if we kind of temper it a bit with some batter, it makes it much easier to fold in. Because we don't, when we put it in here, we don't want to deflate a really nice whipped mixture here. So, and then I like to pour my melted butter mixture down the side. I don't pour it on top. So I'll pour maybe half, third half, and then just fold it in. Again, big strokes, don't over mix, but of course you want it to incorporate it all, and then just rest. Bit of a technique here. Get this. Okay, that'll look gorgeous. Make sure you want to make sure all that butter is mixed in. Okay, so that is our Madeleine batter. Now, I have baked off the Madeleines right away without chilling the batter, but I find they don't get the rise, the Madeleines don't get the rise, so I do like to chill the batter. So just cover it with some plastic wrap. Now you can, I would chill it at least an hour. You want it to firm up a little, get a little thicker. But actually, you could chill this for up to 3 days. So I'm going to put this in the fridge, and when I come back, we will prepare our Madeleine pans. So about 15 minutes before you want to bake your Madeleines, preheat your oven to 375 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 190 degrees Celsius. And then it is very important to prepare your Madeleine pans correctly. Now, you may have, as you can see, this is a Madeleine. It's got that really nice shell shaped with the ribbed edges. And I have two types here. I have the tin, which is just regular, and then I have here a non-stick. Of course, non-stick is better because the batter does have a tendency to stick to the pan, so it is very important that we prepare our pans correctly. So what you will need is some melted butter, melted butter and a pastry brush, and just really brush the insides of your pan with the melted butter. Make sure you get into all those little grooves. Okay, so once you butter them all, then what we're going to do is flour them. So just put a little flour in each one. There's nothing worse than you make these really beautiful Madeleines and then they stick and tear as you try to take them out of the pan. So that's why we're going to both butter and flour. Okay, and you could do this over the sink. I'm just going to do it over a pan here. You just want to make sure you get the flour all. Okay, that's good. And then tap it out. Get rid of any excess. So there. Now what I'm going to do is put the whole pan. You could either put it in the refrigerator just until that really hardens up, or you could even do it faster and put it in the freezer. So now we're ready to bake our Madeleines. So you can see this batter's nice and firm. So you will need about a tablespoon of batter. Now you could just use a tablespoon or a spoon. I'm going to use a small ice cream scoop. And then what you want to do is mound it into the center of the mold, because what we want is a little bit of a hump on this side of the Madeleine. So that's why we're just putting it. So some people like to also put the batter into a piping bag and just pipe it. You could do that as well. Okay, so as you can see, I have some leftover batter. Now the thing about Madeleines is they're at their best freshly made, so I would just make as many as you want, and then you can just put the batter back in the fridge, and then tomorrow or some other time bake them off. So what we're going to do is bake them somewhere between 9 to 11 minutes until they've risen. They're golden brown around the edges, and when you touch them, they're just springy to the touch. Okay, so our Madeleines are now done, as you can see. Nice, and when you press them, they just bounce back and nice golden brown around the edges. Okay, so now the tricky part, let's hope that I prepared the pan good so that they'll just come out. So then just, yep, oh, perfect. If they do stick, like especially if you're using just the pans, this is a non-stick, so they do, just take a little flat edge spatula and just kind of help loosen them if you have to. Whoops. So now, as you can see, look at that. So what we're looking for is, of course, nice golden brown, the red, and then you want kind of this little hump. And that's why we chill the batter. I find if you don't chill the batter, then they tend to be a little flatter than if you chill it. So now we'll just want to, now to serve, what I like to do is just put a little powdered sugar over the top. Makes them look so pretty. I mean, they're really nice if you dip them into a cup of tea or coffee. Freshly made. So I'm going to try one. Hopefully it's not too hot. Oh. Kind of a little crisp on the outside. Soft. Very cake-like inside. Powdered sugar. Perfect. So nice. So, like I said, they are best freshly made, but you can store them overnight. And then, of course, you have extra batter in the fridge that you can bake off on demand. So until next time, I'm Stephanie Jaworski of joybaking.com.